Hello, welcome to JA Good Company Live. My name is Ashish Advani. I'm your host from JA Worldwide. I'm so delighted to have this opportunity to be part of this launch of this new experience called JA Good Company Live. For those of you who've been waiting patiently online, I'm very thankful. We have a great show for you today. We are launching the Global Business Hall of Fame, and we're honoring our first laureates in the Global Business Hall of Fame, building on the success of the 1975. So one of the purposes of today's show is to introduce you to Sheikha Hanadi Al Thani and to Boris. My colleague Sarah has interviewed Boris, and I'll be interviewing the Sheikha live today with all of you listening. So this format that we're introducing, JA Good Company Live, builds on our thought leadership magazine, JA Good Company, which for the past few years has been introducing the JA community to thought leaders from from home, and we frankly on format. So with Sheikha Hanadi waiting, I'm so delighted to be able to introduce her to all of you and for you to see some of the accomplishments that she's had over largely men. And how to and making money.
How do we achieve
The really simple question, which is
I studied economics at university and then got my first degree in economics. I have a master's of economics. And actually, my career path has changed all through my life. So after becoming a lecturer of economics and writing a lot about economic problems, I decided to do something about it. So I actually went into my first venture, which was establishing an advisory firm for women. It was like an investment club for women. It was called the Qatar Ladies Investment Company. Long-term promoting literacy. That opened up an opportunity that we established the first licensed investment company. And it was the first women's only investment company in the MENA region. And since then, it was and still is a very bumpy road. With every business opportunity, with every success comes a lot of challenges, a lot of opportunities. I have some have to describe myself is that I'm a very resilient person. I've been through a lot all through my careers. Seeing opportunities and opening up ventures and then seeing them grow and seeing them flourish. But not only that, always thinking about my social responsibility, thinking about what am I doing towards my society, about giving others the same opportunities that I have, and how can I be a catalyst of change within the environment I was in. And thus comes my affiliation with Injaz. I established the equivalent of Junior Achievement, the affiliate of Junior Achievement in Qatar, which is Injaz Qatar, 15 years ago, and then went on to be on the board of to be within your board of trustees as well. So that is something that I am very proud of. Within my career path, whatever happened, I was always finding a way to learn more, to find out how I can change for the better, hopefully, the environment I was in, the society I was in, and how do I pay back? How do I share my experience? How do I encourage others to take the path less traveled, if we can say? I never looked for the easy ways in establishing a business that is, a smaller business or a more normalized business. I've always looked for these challenges in my life. And just to make it more interesting, I'm a mother of three. So I had to as well establish a work-life balance. And I think that because if you are an entrepreneur, if you are quite passionate about what you do, you find yourself sometime in this dilemma of who am I? Am I an entrepreneur? Do I have a life of my own? What is it? So it's both of these personalities, and I think they are one personality, because an entrepreneur is someone that finds new ways to do things. So I'm an entrepreneur as a mother, and then I'm an entrepreneur in my business, and I'm an entrepreneur in my social as well quest. So I think this is, in a nutshell, this tells you a bit about me.
Well, I'm so fascinated by your career, because not only have you been an entrepreneur and really one of the first really successful female entrepreneurs from your country, investment world, but now you're giving back by helping inspire young people to learn these skills. So in your mind, how do you teach entrepreneurship to a 14, 15-year-old? What do you do to instill that sense of confidence?
It's one thing or another. It's a whole ecosystem that goes hand by hand. So it's how a mother treats her kids at home, how to in another to learn more, and then it's in some start creating entrepreneurship mindset. In other places, you have to have a helping hand. And this is where JA Worldwide comes as a very important part of this ecosystem that we're speaking about. Through promoting these soft skills, through promoting how do I become successful? What are the soft skills that can help me just a notch with my education, with my background, with all my social skills? How do I become someone who is seeking success, working towards it, being very adamant towards it? And as well, financial literacy is a very important aspect within entrepreneurship, because for an enterprise to be successful, it has to generate some enough profit to make sure that it's sustainable. If it's a social enterprise, if it's a profit-seeking enterprise, it has to maintain itself. So the finances behind it are very important. And as well, there, as I mentioned, these little skills on how do I stay the route. I'm going to have failures. Everyone will face a failure. How do I stand up? How do I go back? How do I manage my time? How do I balance my career with my life? So for a 16-year-old, for a 14-year-old, it's this ecosystem that can create entrepreneurship. But that doesn't mean that our forefathers were not entrepreneurs. They didn't have formal education. Maybe in my case, they didn't have formal education. They didn't have the opportunities, but the need to do something, the need to establish themselves, they became entrepreneurs.
Well, the MENA region, which you're more familiar with than even I am, has a unique set of both challenges and opportunities around entrepreneurship. Can you maybe speak to a little bit about what's unique about specifically on teaching entrepreneurship?
Well, Ashish, when we speak about the MENA region, it's a region that houses more than 600 million people. So it's very difficult to capture all of their needs and to capture everything in one. It's like speaking about Africa as one continent without looking at the specifications of every country. So the MENA region has its similarities, but as well has a lot of differences. But one important aspect in the MENA region is that we have a very big bulge of youth. And we have very high unemployment within the youth. In some areas it reaches around 29%. But as well, we are a very unstable economical and political situation. So we house the biggest migrants of populations in the world. Around 57% of the world migrant of population is in the MENA region. That region in a specific way. I tell you one thing, we're speaking about the whole MENA region as this is one of the most adamant problems, yani the migrant problem, the unemployment problems. In some areas in the MENA region, you have complacency, you have this lack of initiative as the main problem of the youth in that area. And it's catering for that segment and this segment in the right way. This is why in the affiliate of JA Worldwide in Jaz Al Arab, we not only have the overall umbrella of JA presence over 13 countries, but as then we have localized in each country, we have a localized team to understand the different challenges within that society, within that country, and then we give them all of the JA Worldwide, different solutions that we come out with, and then they cater for their own needs from that Rolodex. It's quite an interesting dilemma, because if you look at this youth bulge within the MENA region as one of the biggest challenges ahead us, I see it as one of the biggest opportunities that can come in anyone's way. We have a youthful population that is looking towards a better tomorrow. How can we be responsible to offer them these solutions, to offer them a helping hand in going through that? So this is where our role as JA Worldwide, as Injaz Al Arab, as Injaz in every country in the MENA region, this is our role to come up with ideas, with solutions. How do we ignite the passion of the youth? How do we make them accept and dream of a better tomorrow and to work towards it? This is a very important aspect.
Well, you talked about youth unemployment being 28%, 29% in some parts of the region. I just want to empathize with you, because what's happening around the world in every region is unemployment rates are going up during this crisis. And as we think about the impact that JA can have, Injaz can have in the MENA region, it really is about changing mindsets at the right time in somebody's life to make them think of themselves as capable of not just being an entrepreneur, but really being a job creator. Somebody who's able to be an economic agent of change and create a job for themselves and for others. And I fundamentally believe that, we now have over 100 million living JA alumni. Imagine your perspective on if you believe that JA should be in order to sort of leverage this scale, or if you think we should focus more and be more sort of narrow in our focus. I'd love to get your perspective.
Ashish, just looking into the screen, I'm sitting here at my home in Qatar and you're sitting in your home in Boston. None of us today has a responsibility towards our direct community or only our direct community or our direct problems. This is what as well, COVID-19, this period of uncertainty, of this new change of life, the new normal that is being presented, cross-border initiatives? How can be more responsible? I was saying, all of us are local in domicile. We live in our local societies and communities, but we are global in responsibility. The unemployment question is a global question. And I think, as you said, we the alumni of all JA worldwide. This is a big wave that can create so much change. Everyone in their society, everyone in their community. If a small change happens, this is what an impactful wave of change that will come over the world. And this is the beauty of JA Worldwide. It is a worldwide initiative. It is calling for a worldwide audience with a worldwide responsibility to go into their local presence and they are an amazing see a student go through these courses, or when you see the webinars that we're doing, and most of the countries today have changed. Can achieve more. I can my own business, then I can employ others. Beauty JA Worldwide. And as you said, it's the numbers. It started as small. You start with 10 students, 100 students, 1,000 students, and then it becomes a big wave where you have millions of students. And the Arab world, we're aspiring to reach 1 million students per year. And I think this is a goal that I will have to see in my lifetime. And this is, a big shout for the Injaz Al Arab team. Do it. I think we can reach 1 million students per year. It's just a question of how do we think of different ways to get the message through, to get to students, to get to the youth in a way where it is accessible to them and where it adapts to their needs as well. So I'm actually very optimistic. I've seen it in action. I've seen Injaz Qatar, Injaz Al Arab, JA Worldwide in action. We have a force. We have a force to be reckoned with. And I think through the alumni, through our students, through our rocks around the world, we can do it. It's just how do we tweak it? And we're open. I think Ashish, you brought something amazing to the civil field, this adaptable field. I can adapt and I can be flexible with the programs that I have, and I can adapt them to certain situations that I have. And I think this is one of our greatest initiatives.
Well, thank you, Sheikha. I will say that it's a perfect segue to talk about the power of alumni to actually now transition to the interview that my colleague Sarah did with Boris Kolev, who's another laureate and an alumnus. So you will be able to see a Bulgarian entrepreneur who learned from JA and actually has achieved success. And then please stay with us. I've got a few more questions for you after we come back.
Welcome, everyone. I'm so thrilled and excited for this first ever JA Good Company Live. And Ashish already introduced you to one laureate of the Global Business Hall of Fame, and I'm very excited to introduce you to Boris Kolev. He's in the Innovator category of the Global Business Hall of Fame. Welcome, Boris.
Hello. Thank you for welcoming me.
Boris is a JA alum, so his entrepreneurial journey started very, very early. First, you started the JA program when you were, I think, in 8th grade back in. Can you walk us through your experience?
Totally. I think I was 13 or 12, not sure, because 8th grade is somewhere there. Yeah. One day, one of the teachers walked into our room and said, "Oh, there is this extracurriculum activity that you signed up for, and now you're gonna do business." And we said, "What? We're 13. What is this?" And then it was very interesting because they gathered us in one room and said, "Now you have to invent a product or a service." And it started like this. It was one of the best thing we did in school. Besides that, everyone went to play football and tennis and everything, but this was amazing and stuff. Before this in school, we never invented anything. We were just learning, and this is how it started. It was amazing.
So what was the product or the service you did back when you were 13 in school?
Basically, the first year we do the same before. So we do some advertising services for the school, like pictures, like and it wasn't that boring, but we learned a lot. So the next year we actually wanted to invent our own thing. And what happened that we invented something very interesting, probably all around the world now. You've seen this square CDs. Like the CDs are normally round, but there is a type of CDs which is actually square, and it's in the size of business card. We by accident we started cutting square round CDs, and it turned out that if the center of gravity is in the middle, they actually work. So we started to do this as business cards, started to print it on top. One of the companies in Stars Agora, they agreed to produce it with a specific form. So we actually invented the CD business cards back then. They had 50 megabytes. And with this product, we actually won the national competition. And next year we'll become third in Europe with this idea. It was amazing. It was 2000 and I don't remember, 3, 4, I think 4.
I mean, this is incredible. Imagine you being in school, they throw this idea at you that you have to kind of, produce something, a product service, and then you can come up with this. So, and I know, because we know each other very well, that after your JA experience, you just said, you came third in Europe, that you didn't say that JA is a very, very big part of your life ever since. So can you walk us through a bit, what happened after you had, these amazing experience with the JA office, with the JA program, and then at the European finals? What did you do afterwards?
Afterwards, I became more and more involved with JA. I joined the alumni because they were just forming up the local alumni club in Bulgaria. I joined the office as a volunteer because I was helping with some work, some computer stuff. The next back in school, so we started producing websites. We did the school website, and we actually did as a volunteers. It was an amazing experience. So yes, this is how it happened, and I got involved more and more. I joined the alumni. I was first the PR manager of the local club. Then I was elected as a president 2 years later, and then I stayed in the J family ever since.
So, I mean, besides you staying in the JA family, I feel like this whole entrepreneurial spirit you learned in the JA program really, is life-changing for you, because you are a serial entrepreneur. You've been in the Forbes 30 under 30 and all the other amazing achievements. So, and I know, that you're, don't like to talk about your incredible achievements, but we would really love to, know from your side, how many startups did you ever kind of found? Do you even remember?
Well, it's hard because at a certain point I started service companies. Like we had a marketing agency, we had the web design agency, which is still existing. Which is using the smell and the sense for advertising, which is also closed now. Lots and lots of tryouts which were successful in the time, but then the business stopped, so we closed them and we get to the next thing. Digimark was one of the fastest growing software companies in the country, and we got acquired 2 years ago. So it was one of the successful ventures where we exited. for one other reason. Now, actually, I'm focused in creating Digimark Ventures, which is a very micro VC. So we're helping startups. We have 6 startups in the portfolio now, which we sometimes fund with money. Sometimes we fund with development power from the software team, which is also turns into money at the end of the day. So yeah, and also I'm involved in lots of non-profit activities, like CSR Bulgaria is the national network for CSR and a sustainability network, which we found 10 years ago when I was 19, and it's still growing. And yeah, lots and lots of things, but most of the important thing is that everything is social oriented. Every company and project that I'm involved to, it tend to be oriented in a social product or helping community or helping nature, or like even if it's a software company, you can turn it out that you can help everyone by just doing software projects and social things.
Yeah, I mean, I love the approach, and I'm sure everybody now knows why you're in the innovator category, because that's basically what you do all the time, right? Improve the things, and help, the society, which is so incredible. So I would love to know, what was your most emotional part of this entire entrepreneurship journey so far?
Oh, there are lots of emotional parts. The most emotional when you receive some awards, but that's not actually the goal where you do it for. The most emotional thing was when we receive thank you letters for social project that we help someone or we change someone's life. For example, a few years ago, we produced a very simple mobile app connecting blood donors with volunteers. It's a very simple thing. It took us like 2 weeks to produce it. Then we presented to the public for free. Like no one is paying, not the government, no one. It was just our social project. And after a few months, we started receiving letters from people who were in emergency blood need, and they through our app they found donors, and we started receiving letters like thank you letters, and like literally our team was starting crying every time. Like this is one of the most emotional stuff in my career, because it's not the awards, it's not the money, but when you change someone's life, even if it's one person, that's really why we do this for.
Oh gosh, now I also start crying. I'm like, yes, it's so amazing. And I
And
mean,
imagine a simple thing.
I feel like what JA stands for, no matter where we are in the world, everybody wants to do something bigger, better, and help, this world to become a better place. And at the end of close our very short but amazing conversation with, what advice would you give your 12-year-old self back in school before you knew whatever, happens the next years?
That because that's because all the and we're learning lots of skills, so just try.
To see you very soon.
Yeah.
A innovative on the current generation of entrepreneurs. I guess what I'd love to ask you is questions her kids.
Ashish, this is Brent, the producer in Austin, Texas. We're having a little bit of a technical difficulty with that audio. Why don't we move on? I know we've got some questions from the audience that maybe we can get to while we try to get her back.
So why don't we go on to the questions that we've received from our audience, and also encourage so for future segments, we can be responsive to what's on your mind. Countries and level in class if they have hybrid and out of school. And I will say it's the importance of JA now. I think school systems have recognized that more than even in past years, financial literacy education, entrepreneurship education, and work readiness education are critical to volunteer. As easily because we've really been more of an in-person model. So much around the world. Component. It's a hop, step, and jump to connect young people to the UN global goals, but that's in many ways. The third response I see is responding as to which board is sort of advocating to which of the three. my view is they're all important, but I think taking a defensive approach probably is not the most productive for the long run, recognizing that we have to both make structural changes and also prepare young people to really understand that the role of business is to be a force for good in society. I think that's our social obligation at JA, to advocate both for structural change and also to prepare young people what I believe is going to questions. Company, and I hope you enjoyed hearing from the Sheikha and from Boris. Thank you to my colleagues. Thank you to Sarah Rapp. Thank you to Lori Nogel, to Terry Stauffer, to Aaron Sawyer, and to the team at Get Creative Leverage and Methods. We don't have the benefit of having a credit screen, so I wanted to thank everyone personally. I hope you tune in next time. Bye-bye.